Central Bank of Nigeria has threatened to impose fines on erring players in the financial sector over cash scarcity at automated teller machines. This announcement was made by the CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso on Friday at the annual Bankers' Dinner organized by the Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria in Lagos. There have been reports of cash scarcity at banks in recent times, both at ATMs and over the counter in banks. Cardoso stated, "We also recognize the ongoing challenges with cash availability at ATMs, which disproportionately affects ordinary Nigerians. To address this, we are conducting spot checks across the deposit money banks, and we impose penalties on the underperforming institutions. Effective December 1st, 2024, customers are encouraged to report any difficulties with joint cash from bank branches or ATMs directly to the CBN through designated phone numbers and email addresses for their respective states. Guidelines will be distributed widely to raise public awareness. We will also urge full regulative compliance by all stakeholders, including mobile money operators and POS agents, to promote digital transaction channels and improve service delivery. I repeat, financial institutions found engaging in malpractices or sabotage will face changing penalties. The CBN will continue to maintain a robust cash offering to meet the country's needs, particularly during high-demand periods such as the festive season and year-end." The CBN governor also stated that so far, nearly 1 trillion naira has been recovered from development programs. He said, as previously noted, the central bank's return to orthodox monetary policy means that they will refrain from direct intervention in development initiatives. That said, he is pleased to report that as of October 2024, nearly 1 trillion naira has been recovered or repaid under previous development finance programs. And then he said thanks to the enhanced monitoring and enforcement of the guideline. He also went ahead to say that our focus remains on ensuring the effective utilization and recovery of outstanding loans within the framework of established guidelines, while development finance has a role in the economy of Nigeria. It must be approached with proper governance to achieve meaningful impacts. On the outlook, Cardoso projected that with the improved framework for deploying products targeting the Nigerian diaspora and efforts to establish a well-founded FX market, we anticipate increased diaspora and foreign investment over the next 12 months, building on more resilient and liquid FX markets. Well, it's a good thing that the CBN now have come to the realization that there are cash scarcities in banks where money is supposed to be easily accessed, but then the reverse happens to be the case. Great man, I would like to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, like I said, it's good that they finally come to realize that the Nigerian people are going through a lot of stress getting their own money. Money that you put in the bank. Money that you paid your transport. I want to sound like a Nigerian man now talking on the street.
Okay.
You hear them say, money where I carry my own hand, go bank, go put. You carry your transport, pay your transport, and go to the bank, only for you to come back to take your money, and then you cannot access your funds. In fact, at a certain point, we began to hear things like the bank cannot pay out a certain amount of money. That's what they were saying, that the bank cannot pay out a certain amount of funds. For you to get even to the counter, at the counter, you can't get a certain amount of funds from the bank. So, good thing that we have this now, this awareness now. When you hear things like expansion, like we talked in the previous story, going to to Europe to expand and all, when you go to those places, you see 24 hours ATM. You come to Nigeria, you see 24 hours ATM. Are they the same thing? They're not the same thing.
Why our Nigerian president would have to, bring in the French, government to collaborate on this. So we have these issues, or we don't have these issues of, we don't have these issues of cash scarcity.
That must be a job you are trained at the government. I'm not responsible for that job because I don't know how the president is going to be a part of the That
Like,
the French government will have to come and resolve ATM issues in Nigeria.
no, that's not
Is,
what I'm saying. No, that's not what I'm saying. I mean, it's a step in the right direction, remember. When bringing in the French, government, bringing in money, we talked about banks. It's going to facilitate, we said in the last story, we said that bringing them in will facilitate the seamless bank transaction in Nigeria. So don't you think that could be the reason why we are having this story right now? That the banks are now, open to say that, okay, we've noticed there are cash scarcities in banks, so we'll tackle that.
Let us pray and hope that, as you have said, from the stories, it happens like that.
Not just as I have said. This is coming from the CBN governor.
Let us be hopeful. Let us be hopeful. Nigeria, a lot of things happen on paper. It never gets implementation. The biggest problem to have in Nigeria is implementation. So many beautiful ideas. We're very intelligent people in Nigeria. We're very smart people. Intelligent, smart, knowledgeable. But when we bring out all of these solutions, we profile all of these solutions, at the end of the day, it only ends on paper. It doesn't get to implementation stage. It doesn't even get to evaluation stage, appraisal stage, and all of those stages. We've not even crossed implementation. How do you get to evaluation and appraisal? So I pray that it happens as they have said. Because for me, it's useless having ATM machines with the inscription 24 hours. 24 hours when you cannot get these services 24 hours around the clock. Let me tell you, if you go to some ATM machines in this country, in the high-brow areas of this country, the ATM machines run 24 hours. Where does this cash come from? Where does it come from? It's sad. It's sad. You need to realize what I'm telling you. You go to some areas in this country, where the top people live. Let's use that word, top people, because in social strata and classification, we have what top and middle and low can be defined as. Even though we are all going to go the same way, even as we came the same way. But at the end of the day, you realize that there are areas you go to, the subject of cash scarcity is not mentioned. Cash scarcity is mentioned among some other areas. Where is the money that services these other areas I mentioned? Where is the money coming from? Is it not the same Nigeria? It is the same Nigeria. So let us just wait for the CBN to do implementation beyond announcements.
Well,
they also said that they have saved over 1 billion or 1 trillion naira in the past 1 year. Wonderful. Go and convert the money that France is giving to Nigeria. Go and convert it to naira. $300 million, 300 million euros. Convert it to naira. How much is it? And then ask yourself, how much did the CBN say they saved in the last 1 year from only one stream? Just one of hundreds of streams that they can save from. They said they saved 1 trillion. 1 trillion. 1 trillion. Not billion, not million, not 100 million. 1 trillion. Convert how much France is giving to Nigeria and then go and check it. You realize that all we know how to talk about is paper, no implementation. There is money in this country.
Well, so far, since they have come to the realization that there are cash scarcities in banks, it's situations like this usually happens when it comes to festive seasons like this. Each December time, we have situations of cash scarcity. And they are here, Cardoso is saying that effective 1st December 2024, that sanctions are going to be placed on people who fault this development now. So they said that customers are to report, via their channels and all of that. I'm still wondering, how will they implement this, and how are they going to enforce these sanctions? What do you think?
It brings me back to what I was saying before I go back to the implementation of sanctions. When people put sanctions on a thing, it means that modalities have been put in place. You don't sanction a thing that has no structure. It is when there is a structure that you can now say, if you default, we are going to ensure that we sanction you, and this is a sanction. But when there is no structure, you can't sanction anything. So for CBN to come up to say they will sanction, it means that the banks have been hoarding the money and making it available to some quarters that they feel are more important than some other quarters. Go with me. Secondly, you talk about sanctions. Sanctions means that you have made provision of cash to the banks and you have provided it to them, so why hoard it? Why make it scarce? So let's watch from December 1st and see what happens in the banks. Because I'm telling you, I have suffered this cash scarcity thing. I'm telling you practical experience. Because there was one time, there was so much scarcity, a guy came begging and crying. He needed to go for an operation or something. He was crying in the bank, begging. He couldn't get funds. His own money. He couldn't get funds. Now, some other people walk into the bank door, the back door of the bank, and they get money. I'm telling you what happens. You walk through the back door, you get money. Some other person is genuinely crying to get funds from his account to go for a medical procedure, and you cannot give him access to funding. So if the sanctions can be brought on board, fine and good. Let us see how it works. Let us see how they implement it. It is possible. It is possible to implement. It's just like when you talk about this scarcity thing. It's like the same thing in the petroleum sector, where you say fuel is scarce. Fuel is scarce. How? So let's just look out for implementation.
Well.